See the weight you carry, it's written in your eyes. The kind of ache that takes up every corner of your mind. You're sitting in the silence, drowning in the doubt. I've been sitting there before, I know there's a way out. The world feels like it's caving in. Those dark thoughts, don't let them win. Just stay. Just stay. It's almost more than you can take. Please just stay. I swear the light will find you someday, and you'll be glad you stayed. So just stay.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here with us for another week of Just Stay. We took a little break last week. Kenzie was able to go on a amazing kid-free family vacation. And, every once in a while, I feel like as much as we find purpose in this, we also need a breather. And so whenever we miss an episode, I feel like it helps us regroup and recenter and refigure out why we're here.
Yeah, I went on a really awesome kid-free trip that was very much anticipated, and I was a little worried about, leaving my girls, but everything was fine. Everything was great, and made some good memories, got to be in the sun a little bit. So it was really good. It was a really good time, but good. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you're coming back to the Idaho weather, which took a turn just this week.
That's what I heard. It was so beautiful while we were gone.
It was, and I'm always grateful for falls that actually feel like fall, and you can still go outside and enjoy. There's something inside me that just kind of plummets when the weather turns cold.
Same.
And it's dark all the time. I have to really, in fact, when you came in today, you probably saw my coping mechanism of the cold on my kitchen table.
Oh, no, I didn't. What was it?
It's a puzzle. I am a puzzler.
Hey, I love puzzles too. Puzzles are great.
Hobby Lobby has them like 40% off right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so I went in and I stocked up on puzzles, and it is the only thing that quiets my brain and puts me in. It's almost like what fishing does. Just,
really?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, does it, do you feel like, does it keep your mind busy from, like thinking about all the things you have to do? Or
I would say it's a good avoidance technique for all that. I have a to-do list a mile long, and when you walked in, I was doing my puzzle.
I love it. I love it. That's so great.
It's actually really good for me. It like gives me something to look forward to every day. And I think in the cold and in the winter, I need those little things. So, yeah.
That's exactly. I was just talking to Tanner. Makes fun of me because I'm like an avid hobbyer, but my hobbies only last like 4 months. So I'll pick something, and it's usually in the winter, but I'll pick something and just obsess over it.
Yeah.
So like last winter it was crocheting, and I was literally, I have so much freaking yarn, and I was just like making beanies and gloves and all this stuff, scarves. and I made this blanket. And then it was like, after I finished the blanket, I was like, I'm done.
I'm done. Yeah.
I'm done for now. And so now I'm like, okay, I think my new hobby, I think I'm going to start scrapbooking.
Okay.
Yes. But it does the same thing for me. Like, yeah, I like it, how it keeps me busy, but when it's on the verge of a little bit creative, using that part of my brain, I feel like it really, it quiets it, like it helps me recenter. And
yeah. Yeah. And I feel like my hobbies that I do that are problem solving or puzzles or like those type of things, they really help me with that part of my brain too. Yours is a more creative outlet and mine's more of a
like a thinking.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I used to really like reading, and I'll still read every once in a while, but ever since Elijah passed, I can't get back into reading. And I don't know if it's because in order for it to be a good book, there has to be some kind of problem or dark twist or something. I can't read self-help. Those bore the heck out of me. And so I just have to be careful with things I watch or things that I read, because if they go too dark, like I used to be a crime junkie fan, I'd watch all the serial killer stuff. And ever since Elijah passed, I can't do it. It's like too dark. And it's also like, because I've been through tragedy, I haven't been able to find enjoyment out of listening to other people's tragedies.
That completely makes sense.
So
I totally get that. And to be honest, I love true crime, and I'm a big fan of Crime Junkies podcast. And I actually, when I used to work for you, I would, on my lunch break, I would like put my headphones in and listen to Crime Junkies. But it got to the point where it was like all the time.
Yeah.
And that's when I think it became a problem for me,
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that kind of stuff, but I have to limit myself because you got to be careful. It can take its toll,
Yep. Yeah. So last week when you were on your trip and you left your girls, was there a lot of anxiety leading up to that for you? Or did you kind of feel like, because I know when I've left my kids in the past, there's a little bit of anxiety leading up to it. And we obviously don't leave our kids with people that we have, doubts about, but I would feel anxious for a couple days. And then after that, I'm like, oh, hi, Brandy. Like, I've missed you.
Yeah, I would say it's that exact same thing. Like I was a little anxious and, having to pack and make sure that they have everything they need. Like that always is for some reason that adds another level of stress for me. But as soon as, we said goodbye, I shed some tears, but the girls were fine. And we left them with our in-laws.
Yeah.
And so I think that made it easier too, because it wasn't like some friends or, randoms. And, yeah, it was really good. I knew that they were safe. They love being with their grandparents. So that was really great. And then, yeah, as soon as we landed, we went to Arizona, and it was that same feeling like I'm back. I'm okay. Like this is a good time to be with myself. And yeah, it was funny because I just seriously was eating it all up. Everything. We went to like a resort in Mexico, and I was so happy to just lay in a chair and read and feel the breeze and take a walk, like just do all that stuff. And Tanner looked at me as we had been like laying out for 2 hours. He was like, so when you're relaxing, like, what do you think about? I was like, I mean, honestly, I try not to think about things. Like I try to just clear my mind, be present. And he was like, yeah, I don't know how to do that. This is miserable. I hate this. And so we learned pretty quickly that I guess I didn't know that about him, but he's just not much of he likes to be busy doing things,
Mm-hmm.
and I do too, but I also it was so nice to just be there and not have to reach for the diaper bag or make sure my kid's not falling in the water or, just
Mm-hmm.
to be myself. And it was really good because I think as moms, or at least in my experience as a mom, it's easy to lose yourself. And it was really good for me to be without my kids for a little bit, to be a sibling and a daughter to my parents, and just be that girl instead of a mom,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just felt so I just felt so free. And it's not that I didn't miss my girls. Like every time my in-laws sent pictures, there was a little ache in my chest, But I just felt so free. Free's a great word to describe it. And I kept thinking, oh, the me a year ago, even, like, never would have been able to be in this place mentally. Like if I had gone on vacation like that a year ago, I wouldn't have enjoyed it because of the place I was mentally. And so it was just a really good, like, I guess, affirmation that I'm I'm doing a lot better,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that I'm a grown woman who has been through some stuff. And I don't know. It just was, yeah, it was a really positive experience. I found this, there's this quote. It was a Pooh Bear quote. It was so beautiful. And I thought it really resonated with me
Mm-hmm.
because it's this exact same thing that I'm talking about. Okay, here it is. He starts off saying, there are days when I think, if you can't hear it.
Days when I think I used to be braver than this, lighter, less tired. Miss that old bear who didn't worry so much before he knew how heavy life could feel. Realize I only feel the difference because I have walked through things that old Pooh never had to. Of course, I am not the same. Back then, I hadn't climbed those trees, or sat through those long nights, or carried so many worries for the ones I love. You are not worse than you used to be. You are a you who knows more now, who has seen more, who has carried more. Missing your old self is really just proof that you have traveled, and travelers are allowed to be changed by the journey. So when you miss who you were, don't forget to be kind to who you are now. I love
Isn't that
that.
so great?
I love that.
He's like, I don't know. I was just scrolling and it popped up, and those are things that I had felt so much. I still feel them, but I would say maybe like 6 months ago, I was really struggling with missing this idea of who I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had a really hard time trying to grasp that I wasn't that same person who seemed so carefree and lighthearted and enjoyed life and things like that. And I felt a little bit jaded by this life. And I just really like how he says, the journey is allowed to affect the traveler.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the whole point. And the fact that you miss who you were means that you've grown. And I think I had kind of thought that me missing that old self was a bad thing. But it just proves to me what I know now is that I've come so far. And so yeah, I feel like nowadays I'm just constantly being reinforced with the idea that I've come really far, and I need that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I need those reminders. And it's been really, really frequent in these last like few weeks that even if it's just people asking me how I'm doing, it makes me reflect and think, wow, I cannot believe that I am in a place where I'm not constantly waking up with dread or constantly feeling my lowest, It's just like, this is what life is supposed to be.
Yeah.
This is how we're supposed to feel,
Yep. But I also think life is supposed to feel this way, where you have found some sort of peace and comfort within yourself. But I also think that part of this life is the hard parts. The hard parts is what shape us.
Yeah.
And I haven't gotten to a place where I can be grateful for my hard things. In fact, I was thinking the other day, and I feel like your 20s, you're trying to figure out who you are. And your 30s, you really start to become comfortable with that person and expand on that person. And, in my 20s, I was having kids and starting business, and I was really driven. And then 30s, all of the hardest things that have ever happened in my life happened in this decade that I'm in my 30s. And I think when I was a teenager, I would look at adults who were married with kids and had good jobs, and I'd be like, that's what I want. I want that stability of being that adult. But what I didn't see was what was behind closed doors. What are the struggles? And so I'm in a more comfortable place with myself now. I'm spiritually stronger than I think I've ever been. I have a great relationship with my kids, and yet I'm coming out of the hardest season so far. I was going to say of my life, but I think so far. And it's just, I started thinking, and I was like, what else am I going to need to face in this lifetime to shape the person that I am supposed to become? And that's scary to me, but I am also resigned to the fact that these things need to happen.
It's a crazy concept that I'm trying to think of the word. I don't know if it's a dichotomy where it's like two opposing things or if that's a juxtaposition. I can't remember. But basically the concept that what's going to hurt us is what's going to be good for us. Like it's hard for me to wrap my head around.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, even though I know that, like I've learned that in the past year and a half of my life, I still fight it.
Yeah.
Know?
And I don't know if I can say like what's hard is what's good for us, because I don't think, like losing Elia, I don't think that was ever good for me.
Yeah.
But I think it's what shapes us. And it can shape us into whatever we allow it to shape us into. Right? There's some people that lose kids that are shaped into a really bitter, angry shell of themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm just determined to not be a shell of myself, because my kids need my whole being, And so I wouldn't say it's good for us, but I would say it helps shape us. And it's our decision how that shapes us, because it can shape us and make us a worse person, or it can make us a better person. And it's all our choice.
So what hurts us shapes us.
Yeah.
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 I still don't like yeah.
Tell me what you're having a hard time with about that.
Well, I don't, it's just like the fact, I really think it's going to just come with age and time and experience to not like fight it so much. Cause I know that the hard things are going to turn me into someone that I want to be. Hopefully.
If you allow it to, yeah. But do you still resent your hard things?
Yeah. I would say that I struggle with a victim mentality sometimes. Like, why did this have to happen to me?
Mm-hmm.
Like a big thing is my mission. I seriously thought I was over my mission, my whole mission experience. And then weeks ago, Tanner and I were talking. Tanner brought up his mission and started talking about funny things that happened. And it got me thinking about my mission. And then all of a sudden I was in tears and just shut down. And I'm like, this is 11 years later that I'm letting this affect me. But it's still, I have this mentality of like, why did that have to happen to me? Why couldn't it have been different? Why, and I don't know how to like, I mean, I currently am talking about it in therapy, trying to dive deeper, because clearly there's something that I'm not processing,
Mm-hmm.
but it's things like that I feel like my natural tendency is to have this victim mentality. And I hate that. I hate that because I hate it when other people do it. So when I do it myself, it's like I know better, but I don't know how to get my brain from thinking that way, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
so I think that's a reason that I fight it, is because I think, why did this have to happen to me? Like, why couldn't it have turned out differently, or why,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it. And I think the first step is that you're very self-aware that you have those feelings. And that's a good first step, because I think other people that have that victim mentality are never able to get out of it because they're not aware that they have it. But if you've been around somebody that has that victim mentality, it's exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
And from an outside perspective, there's certain things that happen, and I can say, well, that happened because of this. Or, and that's easy for me to say from an outside perspective, but I don't know. I think I've been around people enough of my life that have that mentality. And also, I did a stint in a boarding school when I was 15. I don't know if I've mentioned it on here before or not. Pandora's box here. I went to a behavior modification school when I was 15, and they really taught us about accountability and how to take responsibility. Because, a lot of kids there were like, my parents sent me here, and resented their parents for sending them there and made their parents the bad guy. And I was like, actually, I really didn't give my parents a choice, because what else were they going to do with me? They were out of all other options, But that school really helped us break down the choice and consequence, the choice and accountability, and see if we're able to take responsibility for the things that are happening in our life, then we can also take ownership and change the outcome. And I think once you take ownership of it, I'm able to process and move on from it,
Yeah.
And that's not the case in everything. I mean, there's certain cases where people are the victim. They absolutely are the victim. And so it's a fine line, but I just don't want to live my life with my life happening to me.
Yeah.
I want to be a willing participant.
I like that. I think one of the reasons that I'm thinking about it now, and maybe this was the little in my head that I needed, but I do think that, I had some responsibility or I played a part in my mission, but I was I hate I don't know why the word victim has such a negative connotation in my head. I hate saying that I was a victim, but I don't know what other word I would use, but I was treated poorly. Authority over my mission handled my mental health poorly.
Mm-hmm.
And they tried to take shortcuts. And because of that, I was over medicated. It was a whole thing. And then I had to get off the medication if I wanted to stay in the mission. So I had to cold turkey get off of a medication I'd been on for 8 weeks. And I started having seizures, and then basically had to go home because my health was so bad, mentally and physically. And they're like, there's 8 lines of communication. You have to get approval from 8 different sources. And my mission president just skipped all of it and got me medicated up so that I'd stay out there. And I was a zombie for 2 months and don't remember half of it because I was so drugged up. But I came home really angry, but basically there were so many things that at one point I was sleeping and I wake up hearing my mission companion saying, yes, she just opened her eyes. She's breathing. She's breathing. And I remember trying to come to, but I couldn't open my eyes. And she said, yes, I'm putting my hand over her nose or in front of her nose. I can feel her breathing. And she was on the phone with Salt Lake, and I had a seizure in my sleep, and she had called the mission anyway, somehow had gotten into Salt Lake. And so basically there are so many things that I feel I have felt guilty for. I felt like it was because I was a bad missionary that I was kind of punished from God for that.
Or there were things said to you about not being faithful enough.
Yes. Like, yeah. My companion said, I know what's wrong. It's because you don't have enough faith, or I know what's wrong. It's because Satan's in your head. And I literally thought I was possessed. And so there are so many things that I guess I've thought I'm a victim to. And I hate feeling that way because I feel like it gives those people power that they don't deserve, you know? And I'm not trying to be harsh, but me for 11 years feeling like I was a victim to this system that just gives those people that, in my opinion, did some wrong things, it just gives them that power over me. And I don't want to do that anymore, you know? Like, I don't want to feel that way anymore. So
does your feeling as a victim come from a place of hurt, or does it come from a place of anger? Because I feel like when you go on a mission, you're supposedly an adult. What, you're 18, 19?
Yeah, you're a child.
And there's safety nets there to help protect you from these types of things. And there is something to be said for somebody that's supposed to be getting taken care of, and their needs aren't being met, or they just aren't being taken care of. But I guess my question is, does your feeling like a victim of these people come from a place of hurt, come from a place of anger, come from a place of resentment? Where does it come from?
All of the above. Like, I literally, like, talking about it, my chest feels tight, and I feel like there's an emotional response, clearly. And I think it was hurt from people. I think there was some anger towards God, towards my mission president. I think resentment towards, I hate to say it, but I think I've carried resentment towards the church just because of the way it was handled. I felt like it was mishandled, and no one ever really took responsibility for that. And then because of that, I was hurt. And this was like an entity that I was putting all of my trust in, you know? And so I felt a little betrayed.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just interesting because those are all feelings that I feel like I've just like shoved down. And to the point where I even thought like, oh, I'm over it, you know? I've processed things, I'm good. And then here we are, and
you're having a trauma response.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is like I don't like you said, like I don't want to feel like I'm, how did you say it? Like I'm not in control of my life. I can't remember how you said it. I don't want to feel acted upon, you know? I want to feel in control of that area of my life. So I'm not quite sure how to get there. I know that, you know, I'm doing EMDR with that whole thing, and maybe it's just going to take some time, but
yeah, I don't know, Ken's. I mean, I'm not a professional, but maybe this is a circumstance where you could say like, yeah, I was a victim in this situation. Because I think if you have trauma that's 11 years old that were caused by people in your life, I don't know a better definition of what a victim is. But I do know we talked with your mom last week about what happens to trauma if it's not dealt with.
Yeah.
It festers.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll bite you in the butt one day when you least feel like you can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Trauma's like this ugly door that you have to walk through, and on the other side, it's not sunshine and rainbows. But I tell you what, I think my therapist is on to me, but I avoid EMDR like the plague.
Honestly, I get it.
She has to gear me up for like 4 weeks and be like, okay, I think we're going to do EMDR next week. And I'm like, yeah. And then I'm 10 minutes late. And then, like all these things. And then every single time I do it, I have this like aha moment where I just get clarity and understanding. And I know there's some situations where I'm just not going to get that clarity and understanding, but sometimes I need to just be able to analyze why I do the things I do.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll be like, why do we feel this way? I don't know. Where is this coming from? I don't know. I'm not a very self-aware person. Why do we do these things? I don't know. And then we do EMDR and I'm like, oh, I'm acting this way because I feel this way and it stems from this. And holy cow, like I have this huge eye-opening experience that's so beautiful. And I feel like I'm meeting myself all over again, the person I was before the trauma or before the feeling or before, it's just crazy how we can live in our brains every day and we can live with ourselves every day and we still have so little understanding of ourselves.
That is a great point. That is a great point. I can't remember the percentage, but isn't it like a very small percentage of it's a small percentage of the whole of our brain that's actually like accessed?
Yeah.
Like our brain power. I mean, there's so much capacity for greatness and we just don't even understand.
Tap into it. Yeah. It's funny. I did one of those scans with Destin, and this was years ago, and he had brought that up. Like most people only are using, and gave a percentage, and it's like 20% or something like that of their brain. And he's like, your brain is very active, way more than average. And I'm like, that makes sense. Like my husband can sit and watch the sunset and go for long walks and sit on the beach and not listen to anything or look at anything. And my brain's just like it's, yeah. But he was like, wow, are you exhausted?
Like, wow. That's gotta be exhausting being in your brain.
But I found ways to like cope with it and to like deal with it. My puzzles being one of them.
That's a very healthy coping skills.
Granted, I'm watching a Hulu show while I'm doing my puzzle and probably eating a snack. So I'm like triple tasking.
It sounds heavenly. I love it.
Yeah. I love when we have this spontaneous conversations that turn into these big aha moments. And I like relationships in my life that aren't superficial. And I don't mean superficial as in fake, but superficial as in skin deep. My relationships in my life now and the relationships I have are because I feel comfortable getting on a deeper level with people. And I just, I appreciate that we have that.
I do too. Because recently I've kind of had that same realization that there are certain people in my life that are still important to me, but I just don't have that kind of relationship with them, and it is very surface level.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. There's a time and a place for that. But I also have this part of my soul that craves this kind of interaction,
Yeah.
And so I know we say this every week, but it is fulfilling to me when we're able to talk like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
It's really special.
I agree.
Well, with that, I know that we're going to have some guests probably in the next couple weeks. Things are kind of crazy with the holidays, I think. But planning that out is going to be a little tricky, but as always, we're very, very grateful for our listeners. You guys are the best. And honestly, I had the thought when we're sharing our experiences, and I know sometimes, like, especially like my mission story, it's very like niche. But if someone out there has a similar story or a similar experience that they can relate to, I would love to hear it. Because as we've learned through this podcast, I think we can learn from each other's experiences. And I would really, really love to connect with someone that has been through something similar. And yeah, I just think that would be really great. So, but as always, we're really grateful for you guys.
Yeah. Thank you guys. And we will see you next week.
See ya. I see